It's recording.
Okay. We'll go ahead and call to order this regular meeting of the Peabody Public Library Board of Trustees for January 12th, 2022. We will note that we have a quorum. On attendance, we will show that members Nikki Baker and Carmen Jagger are absent. And at this juncture, I would note that we have minutes from our December meeting that have been distributed, and ask if any of the membership feels comfortable making a motion regarding those.
Motion by Chris to approve minutes.
Been moved by Chris to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Mark seconds Chris's motion to approve the minutes of the regular December 8th, 2021 meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes of the December 8th regular meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Conjunction. Looks like we're going to the director's report, which includes several action items. Mary?
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I probably didn't have that close enough to make a difference today. Sorry.
Great.
No one has the trouble hearing.
My speech professor called that room-filling energy.
Project to the people in the balcony seats.
All right. The first thing on the director's report is about the capital asset policy, and I just need to know if you're okay with it, if there's changes you'd like to be made with it. If there are, that's fine. I can bring it back.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with it. If we already adopted this,
It's a brand new document.
that's okay. I didn't know that we had. So I guess we are opening this up for a motion to approve
Correct.
the policy as distributed. It says capital asset policy, or if you're trying to abbreviate, the CASET policy for December 2021. And I note that Mary has also enclosed with the package some citation or a citation from the Indiana Code and some other information about the materiality policy. That's I believe part of that. Is that correct?
It's separate.
Yeah.
I just noted that that required the materiality policy to comply with the library's policy on materiality. Should we then approve it first? Since this is...
I see what you're saying. Okay, I'm with you now. I've got it now.
Yeah, because these are linked, right? This is...
Well, correct.
Asset policy is based upon the $500 that we have to report.
Loss of $500 on materials to the State Board of Accounts and to the Columbia City Police Department. But they're not, I mean, to me, well, they're linked. You're right, they're linked.
Well, anyway, again, I will still entertain a motion to adopt the capital asset policy as distributed, or invite motion so we can have discussion.
Make a motion by Chris that we approve that capital asset policy for December 2021.
Move to approve the policy as distributed. Is there a second?
Yeah, I second the motion.
That seconds. Is there discussion?
What are the footnotes on the bottom?
Those who we copied it from?
Those are the people I borrowed information
Okay.
from.
Okay, I was like, what?
Yeah, I can't claim it as my own personal
Her
document.
attempt to avoid plagiarism allegations.
Yes.
She's straight.
You're so good.
She is very good.
Okay, that's
Any
all.
further
of us.
discussion or concerns? Okay, all in favor, we'll call the question now. All in favor of approving the CASET, good Lord, the capital asset policy, December, titled Capital Asset Policy, December 2021, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Capital asset policy is approved. Mary, do I need to do anything with the policy on materiality? Okay, that was just an explanation
Yes.
that
I mean,
dovetails
I think
into David.
It's included in there because of the internal controls.
Okay.
It is part of the internal controls policy.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, that's right. I thought I had
Yeah.
read that a couple places. And again, internal controls, these are required, and they are required apparently to be adopted every year then?
Well, we're directed to, I'm directed to check it.
Review them.
Yeah, review it every year and go through and see if I need to update things, and maybe we have to change a procedure here and there, so.
Okay. I guess we could entertain a motion, but let's instead see if there's any questions regarding that, or Mary's, it looks like she had a matrix, sort of a checklist there, and some other commentary. Mary, are there any things you want to highlight before we move further on that?
Well, just to remind you, what I do is I actually go through that checklist. If anything comes up with the answer no, then I have to make an explanation to why there's a no. So that's what goes into there's an assessment that I do, written assessment. So we said no on this one, and this is why, that kind of thing. There really weren't any changes from last year or the year before to 2021. So the policy is basically the same.
Okay. And do we have a copy of it?
Yeah.
You should have a copy in your board.
The checklist and the assessment both?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's the checklist and assessment.
and the actual policy.
Assessment is this guy.
Well, I've got assessment, I've got checklist, and I've got minimum uniform internal control standards for Indiana libraries. Is that our policy?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You see, it didn't say policy on it, therefore it confused me.
That's because I used the fancy name as county.
Okay, that's, because I knew the policy wasn't the checklist or the assessment. Is there any further discussion regarding that? Okay, I would entertain a motion to adopt the Peabody Public Library minimum uniform internal control standards for Indiana political subdivisions policy dated 2022. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Lori Shipman moves to approve the policy. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
That's seconds. Is there any further discussion or any further questions?
Just a
Chris?
question, because it is the minimum uniform internal control standards for Indiana or political subdivisions policy, correct?
It's our version of it.
Does it have to say that and then policy again at the bottom?
No, it can, I can change that. It's a grammatical thing, sure I can.
Well, no, I just was asking because my wife would be, since I have my readers now,
And so Chris basically.
subdivisions policy.
What, okay.
At the abbreviation at the bottom of the page.
All right. I'm good.
Oh, I see what you
See what I
got.
did.
Okay. All right.
Oh, he's just proving he can read the fine print now.
That's right.
You're talking about the word policy following the abbreviation, which also includes the P for policy.
Okay,
Yes.
so I
Okay.
can take that off.
And Lori, you had moved. Is that agreeable to you, that amendment?
Yes.
Is that agreeable to you?
Yes.
Okay. Chris, anything else?
Nope, that was,
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the internal control standards with the change to the footnote noted, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Policies are adopted.
The Education Networks of America, I'm not using this because it's not working. I'll talk loud. We had an RFP that went out, they came around, we had 3 vendors, no, 2 vendors that actually came, 3 people that actually submitted, but the other one had come to the walkthrough, so they were automatically not permitted to apply. At any rate, Education Networks of America, that contract came in lowest of all of them, so they were awarded a 5-year contract. They are the people that have provided us Wi-Fi in the past, so. this will be the second 5-year contract. Questions?
Are we required to always accept the lowest responsive bidder? Responsible and responsive bidder?
Well, yes, on standardized bids, when we issue specs,
Okay,
it's a slightly different process when you do a request for proposal. The traditional bidding process is that I want to buy 500 telephones, I want this model, I want this make, I want da-da-da-da-da-da. Who can sell them to me for the cheapest price, basically? Or I have this work that I want to have done, this size of the building with these specifications, who can build it the cheapest? A request for proposal sometimes can allow for a lot more creativity. And hence, they're requesting a proposal as opposed to just requesting a bid. So sometimes there are not broad specifications. But there is a line where those things cross. So it's always the best practice to accept the lowest responsive and responsible bidder or proposer. Is that?
I mean, I certainly don't have a problem with this. I just was asking for future reference because I know.
Because of 4-point.
Well, no,
Oh, I
just
thought it was Red River.
No, just from my own government work that you have to take the lowest responsible responsive bidder. If you choose not to, you used to be able to
Just say why.
say why.
Yeah.
Well, if
HUD
they-
does not appreciate that.
Yeah, if
so
they are
I didn't know
not
if we
responsible
were-
or they are not responsive, and that usually would have to justify it. The main reason would be the party that can argue they were would sue you.
Yeah, right.
And it's a good way to avoid lawsuits, but, yeah. I don't know if that answered that.
Yeah.
Mary, is that consistent with your understanding?
Yeah, I mean, it's a federal government.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, you are correct. Totally everything I do. I mean, you do it more than I do, so.
Yeah, sometimes you get into things and you're like, I would not do business with that company for anything, even though they are the lowest bidder, and I just didn't know if that translated over to us. I'm certain that Education Networks of America is a wonderful company. This just happened to make me think of it, so.
Okay, the next thing I have are the encumbrances, and I did warn you, I don't know why I'm trying to use this. I warned you last month I was gonna try to spend as much as I could to spend down the budget. So this is the largest encumbrances we've ever had. But that's okay.
And I don't want to shut off a motion to approve it, but the itemization of the encumbrances are the open purchase order list, right?
Correct,
Okay, and that's 2 pages front and back.
correct, and it should be attached to the resolution.
I've got it just right in front.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have a question. I'm just kind of curious about the stuff that was ordered, presumably, or created, the encumbrances created a year ago on some of these. Not a lot. Most of them date back only to, say, October, but there are 2 or 3 of them that are January of 2021. Is there some reason why those are still encumbered and why those haven't been delivered or claimed or paid?
It's probably a back order issue.
Okay. Okay.
With books or materials or whatever it is. I don't know which, they are.
It's like the first periods.
Youth services, it's all books.
Okay.
Books.
All right, that answers my question. And I guess I can ask that without a motion on the floor. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns? Or does anyone feel comfortable moving to approve the encumbrances as set forth?
I move that we accept the encumbrances.
Is there a second?
Mark, I'll second.
Mark seconds. That the motion was by Lori. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the resolution to encumber the operating fund for the open purchase orders provided, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? All right, and then that is a written resolution, so Mary will be sending that around. She found that when she did those at the end of the meeting, we sometimes took the list.
You have a
We-
mouse in your pocket, Greg?
I did not take any with me, but it has happened.
It has happened in the past.
Okay, the salary schedule resolution, you actually saw this, we discussed it back in July, but this list actually has all the staff members for this year and their salaries. So, and we didn't physically approve it because I knew we would do it either in December of 2021 or January of 2022, so.
Any questions? Again, that is several pages. Looks like on my copies, it starts with resolution to approve the compensation chart on, that goes pages 42 through 45, correct, Mary?
That is correct.
First, any further discussion? I think these were all things that we have hashed over several times already. Someone, anyone feel comfortable moving to approve the resolution as presented?
Make a motion to approve the resolution as presented. Chris?
Chris moves to approve the resolution as presented. Is there a second?
That's second motion.
That seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the resolution to approve the amended organization compensation plan dated January 2022, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved, and that one will be coming around as well. Be confused with the cassette.
I didn't think about this, but do you want to do the transfer resolution now, or should we maybe do claims first and then do the transfer resolution? Or does it matter?
I'm not sure that it matters. We can certainly do the transfer. We'll need to do both of them, but these are substantially contemporaneous. And I don't know that we have, I'm trying, it doesn't hurt the board members to be reminded that about why we do the transfer resolution at the first of the year or the
So particularly for this year, since we're going from Banyan data systems to ABC accounting, I wanted to have a clean Banyan showing, positive amounts. So that's what we're moving. I'm moving from accounts that have leftover dollars to those that were in the negative, whatever. So that's what this is all about. Do you have any questions?
And that is the resolution to realign necessary expenditures for 2021 operating budget.
Correct.
I would entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
So moved. Lori.
Lori's moved to approve the resolution. Chris, was that a second?
That was a second, yes.
Okay. Chris moves to second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the resolution to realign necessary expenditures for the 2021 operating budget, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The resolution is approved unanimously. That will be coming around as well. Then, I think we are basically to our claims. I think the balance of the enclosures, so just one or two, no, there's two, are for the investment, or for
Yeah,
the
the whole-
finance board.
Right. Well,
So,
right.
would ask to.
Oh, wait, before you do that,
Go ahead.
I am sorry. I wanted to let you know that Linda's currently working on the sick payout. That's gonna be about $53,000, so FYI. The staff have been told that it's my intention to have masks be worn in the library until the county can get to yellow for 2 weeks in a row. They wanted to make sure that I told you that or that you were aware of that. I thought we had talked about it before, but I'm letting you know now. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Are you okay with that, Chris?
Where social distancing
let you know is our bond is paid on February 1st of 2024. I went ahead and contacted Ice Miller because I never heard back from Baker and Tilly, and I need to start somewhere so that we as a board can have a discussion with them on do we refinance the debt for future building projects or do we retire the debt? Those members that have been on the board with me this whole time, in 2016, we refinanced the debt, did not incur any more debt because the intention of the board was to pay off the debt and to have it at a lower interest rate, which was offered in 2016, so that's what we did. But I want to hear the pros and cons from the experts about what's best to do. So I'm hoping you're okay that I go ahead and schedule a phone call with them. That call would include Baker Tilly and John Whiteleather. So, and I also let Matt know because he's the president of Leasing Corporation. So, are you okay with this?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, those are the only things I had to add.
Mary, I did have, I think this is probably a dumb question.
No. There is no.
You don't know that.
There are no numbers.
Page 20, I am assuming when it says December was a shorter month for us, so numbers on the reports reflect this. Our numbers for oral history seem to be staying steady while board meetings are down. I assume that's views online.
I think it's the number of minutes viewed, correct?
Okay, thank you. And as to the claims, and if anybody else has anything other than claims to talk about, I just wanted to check about the almost $2,600 expenditure to Peabody.
Yes, what happened was Joe started here. Mr. Joe Fox started
Yes,
here,
yes,
and one
yes.
of the biggest complaints I do get from staff and from patrons is that our water tastes terrible. And I thought, okay, it's not the first time I've heard this. I'm gonna call Culligan and just talk to them and see. And they have a filtration system they can put under your sink. So I had one installed under the sink in off community room A and B and upstairs in the youth services at their sink, so that we have drinking water that tastes fine. So, and because we knew that we have a little extra money at the end of the year, I thought this would be a wise investment to have good tasting water. So,
That answered my question. Any other concerns on claims? Chris?
No, not necessarily a claim, it was a question I had.
Well, go ahead. I reached that.
Mary, how much did you say the payout was?
approximately 53,000.
53, okay, I was trying to write it, I forgot how much.
No, that's okay. No problem.
Chris, did you have anything else?
No, that was
Okay.
all, I just, it was coming from.
I would entertain a motion to approve the claims as presented.
Do you want to split them out, or you just want to do them all together? Because we've got claims for 2021, and we've got claims for January 2022. And Linda did separate them out.
Oh, because of the bookkeeping.
Well, that and
That's fine.
Yeah, the
We
bookkeeping.
we can go ahead and do. I guess I would entertain the motion to approve the claims for the remaining claims for the year 2021.
Make a motion to approve the claims from 2021.
Chris moves to approve the claims for 2021 as presented. Is there a second?
Beth, I second.
Seconds, any discussion? All in favor of approving the claims from 2020, from the year 2021, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Claims from the year 2021 are approved. And then entertain a claim to approve the claims from 2022.
the voucher, it looks like this. Rick.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. Mark moved to approve those claims. Is there a second?
Lori will second.
Lori seconds the motion. Is there further discussion on the 2022 claims? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of approving the claims as presented for the year 2022 to date, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the other claims are all carried. Found, sorry, Mary, thank you. And with that, is there any further business for the regular meeting? Hearing no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
I move to adjourn the regular meeting.
There is moved to adjourn the regular meeting. Is there a second?
Second, by Chris.
Chris seconds. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Regular meeting is adjourned. And Chris, you take over on this one, right?
I believe so, even though we haven't done a board of officers yet, but yes, I believe so.
Until your replace, I think you're still chair of the finance team. Board of Finance.
He's the president. He can't get out of it.
Well, we'll give you a minute to catch your breath and sign those couple of documents in front of you. So we make really good time on the regular meeting, in spite of my Norm Crosbyisms up here. I'm sorry, Beth got that one. Anybody else? Okay. Get the reverence or reference to Norm Crosby.
Well,
Just keep a couple of hits, just keep coming.
so these are the new forms. We won't have any more of the vertical ones now, there'll be horizontal
Well,
signs.
all of those,
Okay.
yeah.
And that did continue.
Well, that was one of the questions I was asked, Susan. Because I get to sign this one twice.
Oh, yeah, fiscal officer.
I think I should sign with my other hand, see if they notice. I want to make sure there's all of them there. Okay. We will call to order the Board of Finance meeting. In doing so, I'd like the slate of officers.
I nominate you to be president, Chris.
I will second. Is that the only, do we have
No,
two votes?
Beth.
And
Yeah.
Oh, and
Beth
Beth.
is secretary.
Secretary.
I nominate Beth to be the secretary.
I second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and
Greg.
seconded by Lori and Greg. Are there any other discussion? Accept the nomination. All those in favor of those nominations, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right. That is not so bad. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of the Peabody Public Library investment policy. Should be in your packet. It is 5 pages long. And it was just revised this month, this year. So
I will move to approve the Peabody Public Library investment policy that's presented and recently revised as of, looks like January 2022.
it's been motioned by Greg. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the Peabody Public Library investment policy, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then the investment report. Mary, you have those?
Actually, what this is, the only thing I was gonna report about was the community foundation, the money in the community foundation, and they actually sent me the documents this afternoon.
Oh,
So
perfect.
I thought I would distribute those to you. You know, they're different. We have 2 funds with them. We have a Peabody Public Library Fund that we actually use to pay for, when we did the Battle of the Books, or if we're doing a special 1,000 Book Club, I think we purchased those out of there. The Simon J. Peabody Fund is for capital expenditures only. And if you remember a couple of years ago, they went ahead and sent us money that we had accumulated over the years, which was around $29,000, which we have in our account at Star Financial. Okay. Simon J. Peabody. And I don't know, are anybody, now, you're not on the board for, community, are you familiar with it, Lori, enough to? Oh, I thought there was a blue on there, Lori.
Mary, wasn't there a Snodgrass Club that was in here as well?
Julia, Snodgrass,
remember-
is that at SAR?
Did we use all of it, or is that?
Snodgrass is in ours, she does not want to do, she didn't want us to invest it, she wanted us to spend money.
Okay, that's,
So it's in our operating.
that's where I was,
Yeah.
okay. I couldn't remember, I just double checked.
And these funds are invested by the community foundation for us.
Correct.
They-
They're both endowments.
Okay, all right.
And the Simon J. Peabody has a principle that we cannot spend. And the library fund didn't have a statement. Anyone have any questions or comments?
Do we ever do solicitations for donors to these endowment funds, or?
We did maybe the first or second year I was here. It's a sticky wicket for us because we're supported by tax dollars.
Yeah.
We did get some people that sent us money, but I don't think it was over $500.
Okay.
Now, that would have been in 2012 or 2013.
Okay.
I think I did like a year-end thing. So. And it wasn't specifically for the community foundation, it was for
Our endowment.
just
fund.
us.
Yeah.
So the question that I have on these is the spendable amounts at the bottom and the Simon J. Peabody. Why, do you know why that's at zero?
I don't know. That struck me too. And I can call, like I said, I got this afternoon, and I can call talk to Sheena tomorrow and get the particulars. Because the one is larger.
Well, the appreciation amount, I would think would, but that's why I was wondering if that was somehow the original amount, which it was not.
Did you have your eye on some pretty bobble you wanted us?
No, it shocked me when I saw it.
I don't
said
understand it
zero.
either, so I'd like to know the answer too, I guess,
Okay,
even though
I'll
I'm
find out
not sure
why.
we need to spend it on anything.
No, we don't need to spend it, I just-
Yeah.
It's just why does one have a spendable amount and the
And the
other
other
one doesn't?
doesn't. And isn't Simon J. more money?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
And if I remember correctly, the amount that the endowment fund started with, the amount of principal we couldn't touch at all was much less than that, I thought.
It's around $75,000.
75, yeah.
Well, if I'm reading this properly, the principal, that would normally be says 76,
Yeah.
520.
Yeah.
And that talks about depreciation, so that's, yeah, I don't know.
There's probably some sort of until it grows to a certain point, you have to reinvest back into it. I have no idea.
Yeah, that was just the question.
Oh, yeah, I'll ask. No problem.
Any other questions on the investment report? Yes.
It's not informal.
Yep.
I do want to let you know that we got the Easter Seal Passages Fund, I think you probably know that. We got that money, and I went ahead and believed I put it into what we call the Easter Seal Passages Fund, but I actually need your approval to make a new fund. So,
Do we,
I
yeah,
didn't ask permission, I'm begging for permission.
So moved to ratify the creation of the Passages Peabody Fund, and that's going to be at Star?
Correct.
Okay, and it's mainly, but it's the fund on our books, and that's,
Correct.
okay.
You know what, really quickly, in your board packet, there's a page number, of course I won't, but it shows our balance sheet for all our funds.
Yeah.
And that would probably be very helpful, so for me, it's page 23, but for you guys, it might be a different page number.
23, is that?
23 for me, but my packet is different.
I think it is.
Yeah, I did see it on here.
So when you look at the cash balances, anything library, this is library operating, that's of course tax dollars, but all those other funds underneath are money from other things, with the exception of the bond and interest redemption fund, which is tax dollars that we move to pay for our debt service.
There's that, Julie?
Yep.
Yep. So G42-1004, is that?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Again, I will move to ratify the creation of that.
Okay, sorry, I just.
No, I just wanted, if you want to have it on record, I will.
Is there a second?
I should probably abstain from voting on that.
Okay.
I second. the
Seconded.
motion.
It's been moved
Seconded.
and seconded. All those in favor of creating the
Easter seals passages.
Easter Seals Passages Fund, so do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstaining?
Aye.
I'm abstaining. Motion carries. Is that the only other?
Fund.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And that can be used for,
Easter seals passages, and we have an expert here that can answer that, but it's mostly for us because we're going to be doing a lot of training and maintenance on the equipment.
Okay.
So it's to offset our costs. Labor.
FSSA made grants available to organizations that serve people with disabilities to help them have access to services and to feel less disconnected
Right.
during the shutdown. So the library was very kind to partner with Passages and help them take on something that is a little out of their realm of normal service provisions.
okay. Moving on to the 2022 resolution to approve bank accounts and check signers. Whereas the State Board of Accounts Internal Control Standards suggest the approval of all established Peabody Public Library accounts and check signers. Whereas the Peabody Public Library wants to comply with the State Board of Accounts Internal Control Standards to approve bank accounts and check signers as a part of the internal controls policy. Now, therefore, be it resolved that all accounts held at the Star Financial Bank, Lake City Bank, and the Community Foundation of Woodley County are approved as the library's financial accounts, and that the treasurer of the Peabody Public Library Board of Trustees is approved as the sole check signer for the Peabody Public Library, duly adopted by the Board of Trustees of Peabody Public Library at its Board of Finance meeting held on the 12th day of January 2022, at which meeting quorum was present.
Move to approve the 2022 resolution to approve bank accounts and check signer.
It's been moved, we have a second. Been moved, and seconded by Mark. Any discussion?
And the motion was by Chris.
Yes, sir. Motion by Chris. No discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, we do have to sign that one.
Yes.
I is on the right side of this one.
Oh,
usually
this
it's on the
one's
left.
split.
Yeah, usually it's on the left.
I swapped.
I is on the right.
Oops.
Keep everybody
I'm trying to
away.
keep you on your toes.
I don't know that I would have, I don't know that I would have paid any attention to that.
Oops.
Chris,
Okay, you're welcome. It's the readers, I tell you.
It's the readers. He's so much sharper now.
I know, and he looks smarter too.
He looks very smart.
Yes.
I can't look up from reading papers with them on, but
That's where you get that old man.
Yeah. Well, you'll find too when you take them off, I would leave my eyes closed for a moment before I opened them and kind of let them adjust.
And two more things on the thing here. We need approval to void any outstanding checks. It is on page 48.
Is it just that single
It
check?
is just that single check.
So moved.
Moved by Greg. We have a second to void outstanding checks over 2 years old.
Second by Lori.
Seconded by Lori. Any discussion other than just the one check? None. All those in favor of voiding the outstanding checks over 2 years? So as I was saying, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are voiding the outstanding checks. Last we have is to approve, or to designate, glasses on there. Approval to designate the Posted Mail as the library's notifications newspaper.
Move to designate the Columbia City Post and Mail as the library's notification newspaper.
It's been moved by Greg. We have a second. Are you abstaining?
I'll second.
It's seconded by Mark.
I don't know that we have any choice. I'm really going to be honest with you. With my reading of the Indiana Code, I think under Title V, that's what's kind of.
Yeah, the newspaper list.
And their office is now, yeah, anyway.
Well, and it's, I will tell you, I ran an ad, a public notice, and I think it was like 4 times as expensive now that it's by
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, do so by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Greg. Got a second?
Lori, second.
Seconded by Lori. Any discussion on the adjournment?
On adjourning.
I think it's a really good idea. And boy, we got 2 meetings in here in
Hearing-
45 minutes.
Hearing none. All those in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.